everyone. This is the Starter Pool, and I wanted to talk a little bit about our Unit 2 major writing assignment, which is the poetry analysis essay. So, first things first, it's a little bit confusing. If you click on the Assignments tab and you go to the folder where you're going to turn in major writing assignment number 2, you'll see kind of the process for how to turn it in and what needs to go in with it, which we'll talk about in a few moments. But the actual instructions for the assignment itself are in our content, specifically in the week 5 content. And it's this link right here, major writing assignment number 2, poetry analysis. So essentially, you are going to be choosing one of the 5 poems that you see here. Those are linked in a document in our content as well. If you have any problems finding those or getting the links to work, you'll have to press Control before you click on those links in most cases, depending on how your browsers are set to be able to find the actual text of those poems. But if you're having technical problems like that, please let me know, and I will let you know. So there's some readings earlier in this unit. You're going to be looking at specific poetic elements like the ones that are listed here. Those are covered in the readings for this unit. If you have any problems or questions with those, again, please let me know. And this kind of stuff is covered in the readings about what literary analysis is and the conventions of it and things like that. The essay requirements here, I think, are fairly straightforward. I want to focus on one of them today, which is something that we haven't talked about. We haven't done any secondary resource, and that's we have primary sources. Those are the actual poems themselves that we're analyzing. Our secondary sources are going to be sources which help us to analyze those. Like those can be articles about the poems themselves, interviews or articles about the authors. Or they can be articles about or sources about some of the issues that you're writing about. Those can be thematic issues. If there's a certain theme that you want to analyze in one of these poems, you could look information up about that. You might also look up some stuff about some of these specific poetic elements as well. You should include at least one outside source. That's a secondary source from our library databases, which I will show you how to access in just a few moments. The rest of the stuff here, I think, is fairly straightforward. I'll encourage you one more time to reach out if you have questions about that. So let's talk about how to do that secondary resource. We're going to log into MyCCTC. We're going to click on the Library tab over here in the navigation bar on the left. And there's a lot of different research resources here. But we're going to use some of the databases today. Now, when you go here, you'll see that you have access to 76 different databases. I'm going to highlight a couple of them, which I think will probably be the best bets for sources for this particular paper. The first one is Academic Search Complete. You're going to click on it when you ask you to access the database. Now, for me, it's going to go straight there because I'm already logged in. But if it asks you to log into the database, that's just your MyCCTC password and username there as well. This works much like any other search engine. I encourage you to do the more advanced searches, but let's just start. One of our authors is Jericho Brown. Now, as with a lot of these poems, you may or may not find secondary sources where other scholars have analyzed these poems themselves. If you do find those things, that's great, and you can use those. But you're also encouraged to do some research by the authors themselves. Now, we do not want like Wikipedia style information about the author. So if you find yourself wanting to start with something very generic like Jericho Brown was born in 1972 and blah, 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 that's not the kinds of things that we're looking for here with this kind of thing. We're looking for things that are going to help us not in finding out who the authors are, but in helping us investigate the poems. So this one is an interesting one. This is an interview with the author. Now, even if he's not talking about the specific poem, you may get things from that interview which will help you understand what he was going for in the poem that we read. So you might try searching for the authors. You might also try searching for, again, different themes. If you think that one of the poems, for instance, explores the theme of guilt and how we process guilt, feel free to look at some of the other databases which might help you find psychological articles about how we process guilt, and you can apply those to the poems themselves. I'm going to show you how to access an article here, but first let me tell you that I would suggest that the next step is that you click on full text. That's because some of these databases, like this one, will show you articles that you can't actually access the full text of, and we don't want those. And if you click that, it'll essentially filter it so that you're only seeing articles that you can access. I'm going to click on the title. It's going to give me a couple of different access options. You can do either one of these. This is going to take me to the text of the article. And this is, as I said, an interview with our poet, with Jericho Brown. And the way that we can save this is we can click here on this ribbon icon. That will save it to a folder that we have here that you'll create here in the database. That's one way you can save it. You can also share it. You can just download it to your OneDrive or your Google Drive, or you can email it to yourself as well. You can print it, and of course you can download it as well. The neat thing about these databases is that when it comes time to do a full citation, we can click on the Cite button here. Make sure that we are in MLA style, since this is English and we use MLA style in the humanities. And then we can just cut and paste the citation for the article that way. All right, that's the Academic Search Complete database. I'm going to show you some other ones. I'm not going to go in as much detail with the other ones because they all work in more or less the same way, although there's options for citations and sharing will be in different places, but you can find that. So the Academic Search Complete is a good first stop. A similar database, JSTOR. That's another good place to look for these types of sources. Bloom's Literature is another one that you might find fruitful as well. So those are all kind of like more like academic literary type databases. I would also use maybe Academic Search Complete and things like that if we want to like search for academic articles about themes out in the real world. We might also use click on the wrong letter. The Gale Literature Resource Center. If we want to look for things more like psychological terms and things like that we might explore thematically, I would suggest just looking at all sorts of different databases. Let's say that you want to look up the historical context of the poem. You might look for you might tell it what kind of databases you want to look for. So let's say we're looking for historical context. I'm going to click on history. It's going to show me just now databases that correspond to that topic. All right, so that's a little bit about how to find the databases and how to use them. If you have any problems navigating those or you want some extra instruction, please let me know and stay tuned to further videos for a little bit more about the process for turning this SAN and other resources as well.